Hello friends, a very warm welcome in the series on the income tax cases. Friends, I receive a lot of queries from the listeners of the YouTube channel that they find it difficult to find the cases. For those, I want to say that for their convenience, we have tried our level best to sort the various deliberation on the various cases according to the playlist, that is section wise, and in some places we have also tried to put the cases in the playlist by tribunal wise, like Delhi ITAT, Hyderabad ITAT. So if you want to make your particular search according to the section wise, you can go to the playlist and take help from that. Friends, in the present case, the issue before the Chennai ITAT B branch was that if some cash has been deposited by the assessee during the demonetisation period and the assessee gives its explanation that assessee has repaid the loans which were in the form of accommodation entries on which the assessee has already paid the tax through the settlement commission. So whether the submission of the assessee that the cash received from the repayment of the loan which were in the accommodation entries, which were in the nature of accommodation entries, can this type of explanation of the assessee can be accepted? This issue has been taken up by Chennai ITAT B bench in the case of Deputy Commissioner of Income Tax versus Baashyaam Constructions Private Limited, and this case is reported in 124 ITR Tribunal at page number 272, and the date of the judgment is 3rd January 2024. Friends, the facts of the case are very interesting. The present case relates to the assessment year 17-18. We all know that this was the assessment year when the assessment was done for the period or for the year which was covered by the demonetisation period. In the present case, the assessee has already gone into the settlement commission in respect of allegation of the assessee that the assessee has taken accommodation entries from the Kolkata based companies, and the assessee has accepted that, and through the settlement commission assessee has also paid the tax for the loan entries taken by the assessee of a magnitude of rupees 3.36 crore. When the assessment for the demonetisation period was going on, that is for the assessment year 17-18, the case of the assessee was picked up because the assessee has deposited rupees 3.36 crore into the bank account of the assessee. The query was raised and the assessee explained that assessee has taken accommodation entries for which the assessee has given the tax, and in 2014 the assessee has repaid these loans. So it is the modus operandi of the accommodation entries that when the loan is taken, cash is given, and when the loan is repaid, the cash must have come to the assessee. And the assessee said that when in 2014 these loans were repaid, the cash was received, and this cash was utilized by the assessee since 2014 and up to the period of deposit into the bank account. This cash was utilized by the assessee for the working capital requirement like cash, cash equivalent, stock, debtors, etc. And when the demonetisation came, the assessee deposited that amount into the bank account. But the assessing officer was not impressed. His point was that once the cash is utilized for the working capital, then how it can be available to the assessee for depositing into the bank account. So he made the addition. When this matter came before the CIT appeal, the CIT appeal accepted the appeal of the assessee and said that the explanation of the assessee should be accepted because it is very common that when these loans were being paid by the assessee should have received the cash. So if the assessee is saying that this cash has been deposited, then it should be accepted because the assessee has already paid the tax on that amount. Taxing that amount as cash deposit during the demonetisation period will be as equivalent to double taxation. The revenue filed the appeal in the tribunal, and the tribunal concurred with the view of the CIT appeal that the explanation of the assessee should be accepted. Once cash is used for the working capital requirement, then it is for the stock, debtors, cash and cash equivalent, then it cannot be said that it is only for the stock and debtors. So the tribunal upheld the order of the CIT appeal for deleting the addition of cash deposit of rupees 3.36 crore into the bank account of the assessee. Thank you, friends.